Anyway, you guys want to go see somebody being effective? Like, really, really effective. Like, this is the kind of thing that if one person does it, it's an inconvenience to politicians. But if all of us are doing it, then it's far more hard to ignore. So, for those of you who did not know, there is a former NFL star called Chris Kluwe. And he went to the California City Council meeting in protest of a MAGA plaque. Now, what does that actually mean? Well, I have a news story for you real quick. We're going to watch that, and then that'll give you a lot of insight, and then we'll go and read a little bit about it. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what we have here. Said a what? Here.
I will now engage in the time-honored American tradition of peaceful civil disobedience.
A former NFL player was arrested during a California City Council meeting. Chris Kluwe was taken away in handcuffs during a meeting in Huntington Beach. Residents at the contentious assembly discussed a plaque to mark the 50th anniversary of the Orange County City's library. The Council of Huntington Beach, which has the nickname Surf City, USA, chose to inscribe on the plaque, "Magical, alluring, galvanizing, and adventurous," the first letter spelling out MAGA. Residents of Huntington Beach spoke at the Tuesday meeting in support of or in opposition to the sign.
MAGA stands for trying to erase trans people from existence. MAGA stands for resegregation and racism. MAGA stands for censorship and book bans. MAGA stands for firing air traffic controllers while planes are crashing.
Kluwe, a Huntington Beach resident who was raised in California, spent 7 seasons with the Minnesota Vikings. He also played for the Seattle Seahawks and Oakland Raiders. During public comment at the city council meeting, Kluwe expressed his feelings on the inclusion of MAGA on a public sign.
Everyone is in favor of a plaque to celebrate the library, but the vast majority are against including a MAGA acrostic. MAGA is profoundly corrupt, unmistakably anti-democracy, and most importantly, MAGA is explicitly a Nazi movement. You may have replaced a swastika with a red hat, but that is what it is.
At the end of his statement, Kluwe approached the stage where the city councilor sat and was promptly arrested while some in the meeting clapped and recorded on their phones.
I will now engage in the time-honored American tradition of peaceful civil disobedience.
Get the heck. Get out.
Kluwe told KCBS.
This is something I encourage other people to do. Cause good trouble.
Kluwe says he was charged with a misdemeanor and has a court date scheduled for April.
Show them that we are not going to stand for this. Show them that it means something to you. And do it in a way that they cannot look away.
For Inside Edition Digital, I'm TC News.
That is what I'm fucking talking about. That right there is exactly what I'm talking about. That is the type of get up and go fuck around with shit attitude that we really, really need more of. Because quite frankly, the refrain should be, they cannot do much if it is too much of us doing this. There are not enough prisons built, quite frankly. Now, I did want to go ahead and see how this particular story was being reported on by multiple news sites. I'm not sponsored by Ground News, but I did want to utilize it to see how this is being reported on. So if you look at left-wing news sources, the two we have here from Daily Kos and Defactor say, ex-NFL star Chris Kluwe, no kings, no tyrants, not now, not ever. And from Defector, Chris Kluwe arrested at city council meeting for calling out garish MAGA plaque. But if we look at the right-wing version of this, what is the headline there? Chris Kluwe, former NFL player, compares Trump's MAGA movement to Nazism and is arrested. So what is, most people only read the headlines. They do. It's the side effect of the Facebook generation. So what does this mean? It means that more people who are reading this, if they're looking at just the headlines, all they see is, well, I'm MAGA, and I'm not a Nazi. Who the fuck does this NFL player think he is? He should just be playing his ball. Like that one guy whose name I forgot, who kneeled that one time. And it made me mad, because I was told to be mad by a lot of people who know better than me. So I am mad at him. I don't even know why I'm mad. Something about not on your clock or something like that, despite the fact that I would willingly shit on company time. If somebody on the right who is more likely to be reading right-wing news articles reads this, they are going to say, I'm not a Nazi, don't compare me to Nazis. Of course he got arrested. Why wouldn't he? Whereas if you read it on the left, it is far more sympathetic. It touts him more as a hero, as opposed to bringing somebody's own MAGA standings into account. So, oh yeah, you did the 5 things meme? I don't know what that is anyway. Jassa says some outlets don't show him crossing the podium. So then I decided to go over to Fox News. Because according to Fox News, ex-NFL punter floats political office run and has message for Democrats after arrest. Let's go ahead and see how Fox News talks about this. Chris Kluwe, the former NFL punter who was carried out of a California City Council meeting in protest of a MAGA plaque in front of a library, floated the possibility of running for office. Kluwe's protest stemmed from the plan to have a plaque outside the Huntington Beach. The plaque had the acronym MAGA on which it reads the words magical, alluring, galvanizing, and adventurous. It also had the acronym for President Donald Trump's campaign message, Make America Great Again. The incident went viral last week, and he opened up about the video to TMZ Sports, saying, personally, I don't want to run for office because I do not want power. That's not something I desire. I want everyone to be able to live their own life, free to live their own life without other people harming them. Unfortunately, we're in a position where it looks like I might have to run for public office. Oh boy, howdy, it's the same sentiment I had. Which, oh, by the way, it looks like I may not have to worry too much about the vice president position for the local Dems. It seems like the person who had tried to step down from the position is trying to keep the position, and honestly, I would rather him have it than me so that I can focus on my original plan. So that's the update on that. That's where that is right now. This is a good time for me to go ahead and talk about that. Because I am going to be running for a local office as well in 2026 because I'm tired of seeing that seat unopposed. He says, I hate that because I want to sit at home and play video games. And if you're a good public servant, you serve the public, and it's exhausting. It's a demanding job. That means you care about everyone. You have to care about their issues. You have to find ways to try to help and solve those issues. Kluwe added that he has had calls with the Democratic Party operatives and added that something had to change within the party itself. Thank you. We need to be aware. We need to be as aware right now that everything going on in the country at the moment is as much a triumph of the orange Mad Hatter in the hot seat as it is a failure of every blue-blooded Democrat in the United States who did not do their due diligence in trying to prevent this from happening in the first place. By letting the Overton window shift further and further and further and further and further to the right, when we never could have afforded that in the first place. He says, but the thing is that I firmly believe is what our current Democratic Party is doing is not working. It's time for the old guard to leave, and it's time for new faces to take over. He added that he has no reservations about his peaceful civil disobedience. I feel like there's probably more in there, but at the very least, Fox News did not do too terribly badly with this, though at the same time, this is Fox Sports specifically. This is Fox Sports specifically. So, this is where I go ahead and say, I agree 110% with Chris Kluwe. I think more people should be engaging in, quite literally, harassing the people who are in charge of our current public, getting on stages and using the allotted time that we are allowed to use to make sure that we are forming as much of a stink as humanly possible. I also believe that this is a very good time to talk about trying to work with the Democratic Socialist of America. Right now, we need as much change happening from without as we do from within the Democratic Party. And you can do a lot of that work by helping out with the Democratic Socialists of America. There's plenty of chapter listings here. You can figure out ways that you can get involved and see what they are actively doing. You can see the different campaigns they are trying to get people elected for. And also, if you are trying to run for something, maybe go ahead and use Run for Something. Run for Something will help you make sure that you have all of your ducks in a row for running for a political office, if that is your plan. But if your plan is instead to... Thank you, Lord. If your plan is instead to help people who are not, or who are planning on running for something, while you are planning on just trying to help as much as you can, then use Mobilize. You can use this so that you can get involved in local protests. You can use this so you can get involved with your local chapters for Democrats or whatever political party you happen to be affiliated with, so that you can make sure that you are actively getting the people in the seats that you want right now. And if your goal is to stay even further out of politics, though you should be doing all of this, please consider using 5calls and ResistBot. Both of these can be used for finding out how to contact your representatives and constructing messages to go out to all of your representatives so that you are actively causing as much of a stink as humanly possible, getting in their ears, getting in their faces, and doing everything that you can. Right now is not the time to just be consuming political content on the internet. Right now is the time to buckle down and start getting actively involved in your local politics. We cannot change this from the top down. We can't. I promise you. Every single candidate you possibly could have for president right now is bought and paid for. They are bought and paid for by the Heritage Foundation. They are bought and paid for by AIPAC. They are bought and paid for by anybody you can name who you do not like. I promise you, money flows freely at the top of Washington. So we need to be doing what we can to fuck it up from the bottom up. Get involved in your local politics. I have given you a ton of resources, and all of these are available down below in the description of this YouTube video when it goes live. Every single one of you has the ability to get involved. It's probably time you do. As always, thank you for watching. Insert end of video tagline here. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really could not do any of this without all of you. Those of you watching, and especially those of you who support me on Patreon. I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to thank all of you who do that, because with YouTube being what it is these days, I really cannot do this full time without the support from each and every one of you. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Tales of Atonement, Nixie Chan, Kiri Artemis, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that. Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. Thank you so very much. But since you're here, why not go ahead and try watching another one? There should be one that's on the screen right now. And if you are a patron of mine, I wanted to go ahead and thank you again for all of your support. There is still a video you could press though, if you'd like. I would appreciate it just a little bit.